As a true crime journalist and documentarian, I've covered many horrifying cases, some so shocking, so tragic, and so absolutely awful. This true story you are about to hear is one of those heartbreaking, nightmarish tragedies. It's the true story of a 21-year-old woman who woke up on a November morning in 2020, left home, and was driving to her job, but never made it. Her name was Talia Shanice Williams. Her car broke down on the way to her place of work. When a vehicle breaks down, it's always annoying and inconvenient. However, it's something every driver has experienced. You just get roadside assistance to help you get it started or have it towed to a mechanic. But it never ends like this. Her boyfriend DeAndre Lewis showed up to her location where she was stranded with her car. You'd expect that when a man shows up at his girlfriend's broke-down vehicle, they have come to help. But this situation was something very different. This is a heart-wrenching tale of a relationship turned lethal and a promising life shattered by domestic violence.
John, I just spoke to a man who witnessed this shooting, and what he tells me is terrifying. He says that he watched DeAndre Lewis chase this girl in this park. He says he saw the shooting and he hid behind a car in this parking lot. Once that man left, he went to the young woman, held her hand, and she told him, "Please tell my mom that I love her," before she passed away. Now, today we spoke to a friend who came here today and says that she was actually trying to leave her boyfriend. 21-year-old Talia Williams dreamed of becoming a veterinarian. She worked at a local Starbucks with Tiffany Yanellen.
Nice. Doesn't even cover it. She had like a golden heart. She had so many intentions for this world.
Yanellen says when she learned Williams was murdered, she immediately thought about this man, DeAndre Lewis. He was arrested for Williams' murder and appeared in court this morning.
I was telling her to leave him for so long.
Disturbing details in what police call a domestic violence-related homicide on Jacksonville's west side. News4Jax reporter Vic Michelucci joins us live from Normandy Park, where it happened. And Vic, Williams' family members tell you she was trying to leave an abusive relationship.
Yes, I spoke with her uncle, and unfortunately, he says he did not know about the alleged abuse until after she was killed. She was driving to work yesterday. Her car broke down, and somehow the family believes Lewis found her. They had an argument there. He followed her, and then he shot and killed her.
The first thing that comes to your mind is that you feel like it's a dream, like it can't be real.
A true nightmare for the family of 21-year-old Talia Williams. A day after her murder, we are learning more about her accused killer, her boyfriend.
It was the year 2020, November 23rd, in Florida. It was in a Jacksonville neighborhood. A single gunshot echoed through Normandy Park, setting off a chain of events that would devastate families and horrify the loved ones of the victim and the community. Talia Williams, a 21-year-old with a radiant smile and an infectious zest for life, had been planning her escape from an increasingly toxic relationship. Her friends and family knew of her struggles. Her close friend Tiffany Yanellen often overheard the heated phone arguments between Talia and her boyfriend, DeAndre Lewis. Both worked at a local Starbucks, but while Talia was determined to move forward with her life, DeAndre seemed anchored in stagnation and resentment. "I was telling her to leave him for so long, I should have done something," Tiffany lamented. For a year, Talia had endured a relationship that offered her little more than distress and uncertainty. DeAndre, 22, had no job, no car, and seemingly no future. His one constant was Talia, and he was not willing to let her go. On that fateful Monday morning, the escalating tensions reached their tragic climax. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office received a call just after 10 a.m. about a shooting at Normandy Park on Lindsay Road. Officers arrived to find Talia lying between the parking lot and the athletic fields, a single bullet having ended her young life. Witnesses provided a description of the suspect, and within minutes, DeAndre Lewis was apprehended less than a mile away on Forker Road. There was a gun found that had been discarded nearby. Lewis, a convicted felon with a troubling past, was charged with second-degree murder, possession of a firearm by a felon, and carrying a concealed firearm. His brief court appearance after being arrested resulted in an order of no bond, ensuring he remained behind bars as the judicial process began. For Talia's family, the grief was overwhelming. Her uncle, Timothy Williams, his voice a mix of sorrow and anger, expressed the unimaginable grief and frustration felt by Talia's family. "He killed her for nothing, and now we have to sit and watch her lower into the ground," he said. The family's heartbreak was compounded by the senselessness of the act. Talia had been on the brink of reclaiming her life, trying to free herself from the grip of an abusive relationship. It was barbaric and heartless, the terror and suffering that this young woman was subjected to in her final moments. Lewis relentlessly chased Talia through Normandy Park as she desperately tried to escape him. She was unable to get away, and eventually Lewis fired his gun at Talia and hit her with a single shot. A man witnessed DeAndre Lewis chase Talia through the park and shoot her. He hid behind a car, then ran over to Talia, who was now on the ground wounded, and held her hand. What Talia said next, it suggests that she knew how dire the situation was. In a moment that's absolutely heartbreaking, she told him, "Please tell my mom that I love her." They were her final words. Many shared their condolences and memories of Talia on social media, painting a picture of a young woman full of promise and kindness. Her obituary highlighted her achievements and the joy she brought to those around her. A graduate of Edward H. White High School and a student of veterinary medicine at Florida State College of Jacksonville, Talia worked at Baptist Medical Center and Starbucks. She was known for her vibrant spirit, her love for her family, and her unwavering optimism. Domestic violence is a deadly and endless cycle in our society. Gail Patton, CEO of Hubbard House, emphasized the critical need for victims to seek help. When someone is trying to leave an abusive relationship, it can be the most dangerous time, she said. Reach out for help. One call could save a life. In the courtroom, the gravity of DeAndre Lewis's actions was laid bare. His prior convictions for attempted robbery and other crimes painted a picture of a young man on a downward spiral, culminating in this ultimate act of violence. The justice system moved to ensure that he would be held accountable, but for Talia's family, no sentence could ever truly compensate for their loss. The memory of Talia Williams will forever be cherished by her parents, brothers, extended family, and friends. Her spirit, described as bright and unwavering, lives on in the hearts of her loved ones. As her family navigates their grief, they continue to call for justice and awareness, hoping that Talia's story will inspire others to seek help before it's too late. The sun had barely risen over Jacksonville when Normandy Park was shattered by violence. At approximately 10 a.m., Talia Williams, 21, was found lying near the athletic fields, a single gunshot wound ending her promising life. This was not an unforeseen tragedy, it was the culmination of a toxic relationship that had escalated beyond control. Talia and DeAndre had been dating for about a year. Friends like Tiffany Yanellin, who witnessed the couple's phone arguments herself, explained how 22-year-old DeAndre had no job and no money. Talia had confided in friends about her plans to leave Lewis. Her friends also pleaded with her to leave him, but Talia's compassionate nature compelled her to try and help Lewis become a better person. Eventually, Talia was determined to break free from the cycle of abuse. Lewis, unable to accept her decision, responded with fatal violence, leaving her to die as he fled the scene. His attempted escape from justice didn't last long. Police swiftly apprehended Lewis less than a mile from the park. Evidence, including the firearm and other items, were found along the route, from the crime scene to the arrest location. His criminal past, including a conviction for attempted robbery and pending charges for car theft, painted a grim picture of a man spiraling deeper into criminality. Lewis is charged with second-degree murder, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and carrying a concealed firearm. At this time, he is being held in custody and has not been sentenced for the murder of Talia Williams.
This is a newly released mugshot of 22-year-old DeAndre Lewis, who was arrested for murder, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and carrying a concealed firearm. Lewis appeared in court for the first time this morning. Family gave us these pictures and identified the victim as 21-year-old Talia Williams. Police say Williams and the suspect got into an argument before the shooting. This was seen Monday after it happened, as police spoke to witnesses. It happened at Normandy Park on the city's west side. JSO says the help of 3 witnesses led them to getting a person of interest in custody. They also found a gun ditched not too far from where the shooting happened. We spoke to family last night who are beginning their search for justice in Williams' case.
He killed her for nothing. And now we have to sit and we have to watch her lowered into the ground.
And because Lewis was a convicted felon, he was not even supposed to have a gun. 21-year-old Talia Williams dreamed of becoming a veterinarian. She worked at a local Starbucks with Tiffany Yanellen.
Nice. Doesn't even cover it. She had like a golden heart. She had so many intentions for this world.
Yanellen says when she learned Williams was murdered, she immediately thought about this man, DeAndre Lewis. He was arrested for Williams' murder and appeared in court this morning.
I was telling her to leave him for so long. I should have done something.
Friends and family described the relationship as argumentative. Yanellen says Williams told her she was planning to leave Lewis just days before her murder.
He had nothing going for himself. He had no car, no job, that was all he had. So he wasn't going to let her leave.
This was seen in the hours after Williams was killed in Normandy Park. Investigators say it was the cooperation of 3 witnesses that helped them catch Lewis and find a gun ditched not too far from the scene. For friends and family, the arrest brings some sense of comfort as their road to justice begins.
I love you, Talia. I love you so much. I'm going to miss you.
See, going in your house and being quiet, that's fear. Coming together, that shows that we're tied. That shows that we are united. Why are we afraid to come together? You know, I'm not saying come have dinner with me. I'm just saying stand with me on the things that are affecting your neighborhood and mine. We need to show the criminal element that we're united, not that we're afraid.